So recently I've been obsessed with the idea of making a homemade sketchbook, and I did! So this whole process has been very trial and error. I just got up one morning and I decided that I wanted to do it, and I did. And I was just sort of fumbling through the whole thing. So this video is going to be very disorganized, but that's okay. I just wanted to show you guys how I did it. Also, we have a visitor. Hi. So the main reason I made this sketchbook was I wanted something a little bit more low commitment compared to like my big 8x10 sketchbook, and I also just went on vacation. So I also wanted something to fill while I was there. So by the time you see this video, this sketchbook's probably gonna be full because it was only like 24 pages. So expect like a little sketchbook tour relatively soon. Okay, let's do this. So I had some really basic supplies for this project, apart from one thing which I just happened to have on hand because I like to make cosplays, and that was my glue. But for the most part, I used A4 deleter comic book paper, scissors, some wire cutters, some barge contact cement, which is the cosplay super glue, some cardstock and a printer, a thick needle and some thread, a ruler, some spray paint, a little faux leather for the binding, and some sandpaper, and also a bunch of stickers. So the process of making this guy was kind of like all over the place, but let's start with the binding. I began by folding my pieces of A4 paper down the middle and flattening the fold with a ruler. I just used 6 pieces because it's all I had left, but you can use a lot more if you want. After that, I drew a few dots for where I wanted the binding to go and punched through all my sheets of paper with a hammer and a finishing nail. Then I began stitching it together. There is an actual technique to the stitching method. You can look it up here on YouTube if you want to, but since this is me we're talking about, I kind of just winged it and it turned out pretty okay, but this is definitely not like the correct method at all. It didn't really need much since I'll also be using glue. I just needed something to keep the paper in place. After the stitching was finished, I used the ruler again to flatten out all of my pages. Next, I worked on the cover. I made the cover out of a piece of scrap cardstock I had laying around, and my original plan was to print out a couple of images from Pinterest to use as the cover and put stickers over it, but it turns out I was out of clear contact paper, so I used those printouts as the inner covers and spray painted the actual cover purple and gold and covered it with some clear coat. It worked out pretty well because I've been painting stuff on the inner covers and it looks really pretty with the floral background, so happy accident. And the next step is to actually assemble everything. I began by cutting little pieces of cardstock to be slightly thicker than the bound pages so that it folds around them. Then I glued the piece of paper to the inside cover with some barge cement. You use contact cement by spreading it evenly into all the grooves of the pieces you want to glue together, and then let it get slightly tacky before you press them together. Once the glue was dry, I folded the piece of paper around the binding using the ruler again to flatten the fold. Then I applied glue to the inside of the fold and the outside edges of the paper binding. I let the glue get tacky and then firmly pressed the pieces together and let them dry. Then I did a little bit more folding with my ruler so the pages laid correctly whenever I'm using the sketchbook. Finally, I folded the cover itself around the pages using my ruler to create a spine. Now that everything is fitting together nicely, we can begin working on some of the finishing touches. I cut a strip of faux leather so that it fits around the outside spine of my sketchbook. This is purely a cosmetic step to hide some of the ugly fold lines and give it some texture. I covered the piece of leather and the outer spine of the book in glue, let them get tacky, and press them together into place. Then I did a little trimming to clean it up. I also ran a lighter over the raw edges of the leather off camera to seal them a bit. And now we're ready to trim the cover and the pages and align them a little better. This step didn't exactly go as planned. I expected my sheet metal cutters to get a cleaner cut on all of my pages, but it ended up looking alright in the end. I also rounded the corners just because I like how it looks. After I cut everything, the edges were a huge mess, so I tried smoothing them out with a bit of sandpaper, and it actually worked super well and cleaned up the edges a lot. And now that my little sketchbook is totally assembled, we're on to the final step. absolutely covering it with stickers. I am 5 years old. I don't normally put stickers on my sketchbooks because I don't have many lying around, but I ordered some just for the purpose of putting them on the cover of this one. I got a space-themed pack, so that's why they're all like astronauts basically, and I also added a few that I got from random shops, and one I got from the lovely Nina Cosford, I hope I'm saying your name right, which was sent to me along with her new sketchbook, which is totally amazing. Thank you so much, Nina. I tried to get a nice balance of shapes and colors and just to have fun with my goofy space stickers, and I just really love the aesthetic of this little sketchbook. It's messy and it looks very homemade, but I don't think it's bad at all for a first attempt, and it was just like super fun to make and fill. I'm pretty darn pleased with the finished product. I just think it's so cool to make a book yourself, even if it's like a huge mess. And I'm definitely interested in making more homemade sketchbooks in the future using different materials and methods, so let me know if you want to see that happen. And let me know if you've ever made a sketchbook, or even if you got inspired to make one from this video, and please let me know. I'm interested to see what other methods people use, especially for my future sketchbook ventures. And I know some of the materials in this video are like kind of weird, and I mean not everyone has like sheet metal cutters and contact cement lying around, but if you don't have stuff like this and you still want to make a sketchbook, there's lots of other methods for making one, and there's lots of videos here on YouTube that you can check out. And speaking of videos that can help teach you how to do things, it's an ad. Are you tired of not knowing how to do stuff? Like you get up in the morning and your head is just empty. Well, I know the feeling. And have I got the platform for you? This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of classes for creative folk like yourself. You can learn about digital art, sketchbooking, watercolors, gouache, and even how to draw cats. Skillshare's classes are easy to digest and watch at your own pace. Their classes average at around 60 minutes and have a range of difficulty to suit your needs. New premium classes are constantly being released, so there are always new subjects to explore, and since their platform is focused on learning, it's completely ad-free. And Skillshare's annual subscription gives you access to their entire library of content for less than $10 a month. If you want to try it out, Skillshare is offering the first 1,000 people who sign up using my link in the description a free trial of premium membership so that you can explore their classes for yourself. Recently, I've been checking out Jazz's class, Mastering Illustration, Sketching, Inking, and Color Essentials. This is a really thorough class, especially for beginners or people who have mostly dabbled in digital work. In this class, Jazza walks you through 2 different illustrations, and along the way he discusses style, exploration of mediums, and the steps from a sketch to finished colored piece. I personally have always really admired how Jazza has such a range of style, so it was really interesting to see him kind of sit down and explain that here. It's just a really nice class to take regardless of your art level, and Jazza has a great way of teaching and explaining, and I highly recommend this class. Thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Go check out their classes, and when you sign up for a free trial, it helps out the channel, so thank you so much to everyone who has done so. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the comments and the subscriptions and the likes, and thank you to everyone who's been so patient while I've been working through this burnout that I've been experiencing this past month. I really appreciate it. Also, let me know what you think of this outdoor filming setup. The wind is a little loud, but it's nice to look at. It is pretty. I need to go now, actually. I need to find a way out of these woods.